farms. So that will bring these tzarot, these sorrows, will bring people to pray to Hashem in the Beit HaMikdash. And basically, David HaMelech is like wearing a talit and praying for all of the world, because he also mentions the non-Jewish world, that they too will come to, they'll see the greatness of the Jewish people, the God of Israel, and they will come to pray in the Beit HaMikdash. And furthermore, we saw instances that when God is mad at the Jewish people, after being warned and warned and warned, and we will be delivered before our enemies, and Jews will be taken into captivity, God forbid, okay? The applicable situation of today. Then what will Jews do when they're in Soviet Russia? What will they do when they're in communist China? If God forbid they're taken into captivity? And we saw in verses 47, 48, Jews will turn outside Israel to the Beit HaMikdash. So we see that the Beit HaMikdash is made a central topic, a place for prayer inside it, a place of prayer towards it. Everyone will turn and know about it. Okay? That's where we got up to towards the end of his speech. Let's continue in Pasuk Nun Bet in verse 52. Liot einecha ptuchot. The prayer of Shlomo is, let your eyes be open, el tchinat avdecha, to the supplication of your servants, el tchinat amcha Yisrael. Your avadim, I assume, are the great tzaddikim. The nation of Israel is everyone. Lishmo aleim b'chol koramelecha. David wants to produce security, trust, that we have trust in tshuva, we have trust in tefillah. So, just like we say, Shema Kolenu, God hear our prayers. Shlomo Melech is saying to Hashem, I'm praying to you that all the tefillot be heard by you, and you answer them. Okay? Lishmo alem bechol koramelecha. Hear them every time they're calling out to you. Why? Our history. Nun Gimel 53. Ki ata hivdaltam lecha lenachala mikol amei haaretz. You made them special. You made them unique. You gave them kedusha. Okay? Kasher dibarta biyad Moshe avdecha, like you taught us. You spoke to us through Moshe. Botziachat avotenu mimitzrayim Hashem Elokim. You're taking us out in order to bring us closer to you. This is now the ending of a very long tefillah of Shlomo. It's about 30 psukim. A very long tefillah. And when is this being done? In the inauguration of the Holy Temple, Chanukat HaBayit. And we're not surprised, but it's clear to us that Shlomo HaMelech is saying that a major objective of the Beit HaMikdash is praying to Hashem. This is where the Shekhinah is, the divine presence is. This is the closest place. And we'll see those words soon here in this the end of this chapter, or the beginning of the next chapter. No, we're going to see it here. What does Shlomo HaMelech do at the end of the tefillah? Pasuk Nun Dalet Vayi. Follow in the Hebrew if you can. Vayi kechalot Shlomo. Litpalel al Adonai et kol ha-tefillah v'tchina zot. Kam milifnei mizbach Adonai. Mikiro al birkav. V'chapav prusot ha-shamayim. Interesting. We did not know that during this tefillah, Shlomo was on his knees. But do you notice what it stated here? As he's finishing this long prayer of 30 psukim, he gets up in front of the Mizbeach, and he was bending on his knees. Mikro birkav. So, I don't know if he's bending on his knees right now, or the Tanakh is short in one place and completing things in this place. Certainly, it's possible that when he was praying, he was submitting himself, he was lowering himself so much. He was bending on his knees. And what were his hands? Kapav prusot l'shamayim. In other words, it's not that Shlomo Melech is a Breslover. It's just that he is supplicating God. He is hoping. His trust is in Hashem. His hands are up. Oh, I am nothing of myself. All this tefillah, which he's like the chazan, the shaliach tzibur for all of the world. And of course, Am Yisrael. He gets up now. And now he's ready to do what we learned in the beginning. Remember when do you remember? When he finished building the Beit HaMikdash, it said in verse 15, Vayomer, where was it? They went to Vayivarech et kol kahal Yisrael. What's not stated there? Which bracha is he giving the community of Israel? We didn't see something. So it could be klal uprat, that first he's praying, and now he's issuing a bracha. Here it is. Let's read it. Pasuk Nunei, verse 55. Vayamod. Remember, he was bending on his knees in his prayer, and now he's issuing a bracha. Vayivarach et kol kahal Yisrael, kol gadol lemor. Shlomo Melech is not only a chassid, okay? Not only does he write Kohelet, and he teaches us Musar, but he's full of the love of Hashem. He's writing Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs. He has so much love to God. You see how connected he is to God in this prayer. This immense prayer. His heart, his soul is flowing with tefillah. And now he stands up aloud and issues a bracha to Am Yisrael. Pasuk Nun Vav, verse 56. Baruch Adonai, asher natan menucha le'amo Yisrael, kechol asher diber, lo nafal davar echad mikol dvaro hatov asher diber ben Moshe v'Daron. What was the prerequisite for building a Beit HaMikdash? International peace. We can't be at war. That the nations surrounding ourselves, we can't be at war, as the Torah tells us in the section of Kings of the building of the Beit HaMikdash. So now Am Yisrael is in a state of peace, a state of rest. Their neighbors are not attacking us, thanks to David HaMelech. Okay? So every detail, every promise that Hashem has made, nothing has fallen. Nothing is lacking. All the conditions are given. And now, what is his bracha to the nation? Pasuk Nun Zayin. Number one, the promises are given and fulfilled. Pasuk Nun Zayin 57. Yehi Adonai Eloheinu imanu, kasher hayayim avoteinu, al ya'azveinu v'yiteshenu. These psukim are inserted in some of our tefillot, by the way. Okay? The bracha that he's blessing the nation, may God be with us. Just like he was with Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Okay? It's a wish, a desire, a hope, a prayer. But what is needed? Latot levaveinu elav. Lalechet bechod rachav v'lishmor mitzotav v'chukav v'mishpatav asher tzivah avotenu. The Beit HaMikdash is not a magical place. It's not, we have a Beit HaMikdash, we rely on it. I can relax, sit back, I don't have to learn Torah, I don't have to keep Shabbat. No. It's not a place of sgula. It's a treasured place. And we have a Beit HaMikdash. We can do anything. We can speak any way. We can adopt any ways of life. No. Our hearts have to be towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to go in Hashem's way. Ma Hashem chanun, afatah chanun. Ma Hashem rachon, afatah rachon. We have to adapt the midot, the character traits of God, and keep the mitzvot. And now, a summary inside his bracha to Israel, a summary of his prayer. V'yu dvarai ela. By the way, do you remember where this is inserted in our prayer? This is inserted at the end of, we go around the Sefer Torah on the Bima on Sukkot. We do hakafot with our Bat Aminim. And we're praying for things. It's the time of rain, the season of water. And we say, may these words, V'yu dvarai ela, asher itchananti lifnei Hashem, I've been supplicating God. Krovim el Hashem Elokeinu yomam v'layla, let them be heard to God, close to God day and night. Lasot mishpat avdo, that may we be able to do God's judgment. Umishpat amo, keep the laws of halacha, of the Beit Mishpat, dvar yom b'yomo, on a daily basis. Why? What is the ultimate purpose of our tefillot and keeping the mishpat? Pasuk Samech, verse 60. Leman dat kol amei haaretz, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim einod. There's a international objective that the nations of the earth, even though they're far away in Asia and in India and in Africa, let them know there's really one God. When they're going to come to visit the land of Israel and see the economics of the country, the social systems and the legal systems of the country, and they see that then Israel's social and economic and military situation is so noble, so full of the ethics of God, nations will understand that there's one God in the world, and He's the God of Israel. Eino, then there's no one else. Pasuk Samech Aleph. But the keeping of the mitzvot is the key. V'haya levavchem shalem im Adonai Eloheinu lalechet bechukav v'lishmor mitzotav kayom hazeh. It sounds like the rebuke at the end of Parshat Bechukotai. That in Bechukotai telechu v'et mitzvotai tishmoru v'natati geshmechem b'itam. Okay? Just like God, through Moshe Rabbeinu, warned the Jewish people, if we keep the chukim and the laws and the mitzvot, God will give us prosperity. God will give us blessing. So too here. What condition is there for the Beit HaMikdash to remain standing? The keeping of the mitzvot. That is a condition. This ends the bracha of Shlomo HaMelech. Wow. A long tefillah on behalf of mankind, not only the Jewish people, and now a clear understanding that the Beit HaMikdash is not a treasured place. Bingo, we have a Beit HaMikdash, we rely on it for our sustenance, for our continuation. We don't have to do Torah mitzvah. No, there's no such thing. It's not that type of matter. Now, after Shlomo's doing this, and of course, it seems to us obvious that he learned from Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron, that when the Mishkan was inaugurated, Moshe and Aaron offered a blessing to the nation that gathered there as the fire came down from heaven. What does Shlomo do? V'amelech, Pasuk Samech Bet, verse 62. V'amelech v'chol Yisrael imo. Zovechim zevach lefnei Adonai. It's a happy day, or shall we say it's happy days. And the Jewish people, with Shlomo HaMelech, are bringing zvachim. Zvachim is a nice word for korbanot, sacrifices before God in Yerushalayim, in the Beit HaMikdash, inside the Azara, the courtyard. What? And now we're told amazing statistics and numbers. Pasuk Samech Gimel, Vayizbach Shlomo et zevach hashlamim asher zavach l'Adonai bakar 22,000 v'tzon 120,000 vayachnechu et beit Adonai hamelech v'chol bnei Yisrael. What? Did you read this astronomical numbers? What sum total did you get? 22,000 cattle, 120,000 sheep. Wow. Maybe they rounded off the numbers. Maybe it wasn't 120. It was 119, 200. It's rounded off to 120.
Didn't do it all one day, no?
Oh, so that is the question. Here we have 100, and how much? 192? 192,000 animals. So David says, it's reasonable to say that it's impossible to do it on one day. Point number one. Point number two, in a few psukim from now we learn that the inauguration was Shivat Yamim, Vishivat Yamim, Arba Asar Yom. 14 days. Interesting. Let's say that the 14 days, and we'll get to it today, God willing, is not 14 days of Chanukah Bayit inaugurating the Beit HaMikdash. Let's say there was a holiday, a Sukkot holiday we'll learn, plus 7 days earlier, inaugurating the temple. So let's say 192,000 animals are slaughtered during the course of 7 days. That means Shabbat as well. Where can we do on Shabbat? Question. 190 divided into 7, that's correct. It's 20,285. That means every day, 20,285. If we have almost a 11-hour day, that means every hour, 1,690 animals are being slaughtered. That means each minute, 28 are being slaughtered. It's not a bad statistic, huh? The number is not the good. Mr. Shochatim, would you please come over here? Slaughters. Everyone knows how to slaughter. The question is, where?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy. Okay, this is eyewitness news. Shlomo is close to families of the Leviim that are close to the Kohanim. I can understand the number. You got a big staff. By the way, you go to a slaughterhouse in Beit Shan and other places in Atarot Yerushalayim. You have squad. You have a lot of shochatim. So maybe the people that can do the shchita, the slaughtering, that's not a problem. The problem is where. Okay? And that will be the subject of Pasuk Samich Dalet. In verse 64, Bayomahu, on that day, Kidash Amelech et toch hechatzer asher lifnei Beit Adonai ki asa sham et ha'ola vet ha'mincha vet chelvei ha'shlamim ki mizbach ha'nechoshet asher lifnei Adonai katon me'achilet ha'ola vet ha'mincha vet chelvei ha'shlamim. What is going on here? What's happening here, gentlemen? It says that the king sanctified the courtyard before the Bayit of Hashem. And we want to better understand what is going on here. What does it mean that he's sanctifying the courtyard? What does it mean that he's sanctifying the courtyard? So, I want to say this something. We all know that the Mizbeach that Moshe Rabbeinu built was tiny. Okay? Meaning, the Mizbeach that Moshe built in the Mishkan, according to divine order, was 5 amot by 5 amot. You hear that? 5 by 5. That's tiny. Okay? 1 amah is half a meter, 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters. Here in Bayit Rishon, the Mizbeach is 20 amot on 20 amot. Still, is that enough or not? So we have a machloket tanaim. It appears in Mesechet Shabbat Lamed Aleph and also Moed Katan Daf Tet. 2 places we see a Tanaik argument. Did Shlomo HaMelech sanctify the floor, all the floor of the Azara of the courtyard, with the Kedusha of the Mizbeach, or not? Okay? 2 opinions appear in the Talmud. If we say that he sanctified all of the floor, wow. So we have a large area. Many shochatim can do the work of the shchita. And by doing so, we can understand these astronomical numbers. Okay? How they did 190,000, like you said, over the span of 7 days. Okay? So we're going to learn that the Chanukah is always 7 days, and there's a celebration of a holiday. We'll get to that in Samechei, in Pasuk Samechei. The question is, how does he have the right to do so? Okay? How does he have the right to do so? So someone wants to say the following, that this is a Hora'at Shah. This was an instruction for the hour. He got the Sanhedrin, the High Court together with Shlomo HaMelech, and they said, look, we have a desire to sacrifice all these korbanot during these 7 days of celebration. Do we have the ability, through the Sanhedrin, to enlarge what God gave us. God gave us to build a Mizbeach 20 on 20 amot. 10 meters on 10 meters. Wow, it's a lot of place, but it's not enough for these thousands and thousands of korbanot. Now, so what did they do? As if they took the Mizbeach, and just like you touch it on your phone, it enlarges. So he enlarged the entire area of the courtyard by sanctifying the floor. What does it mean, sanctifying the floor? The floor now receives Kedusha of the Mizbeach. What does that mean? That after slaughtering, I can now spill the blood here on the floor. It's as if I'm spilling the blood on the walls of the altar. That's what it means. So there are two opinions there in the Talmud. And, well, does it have any application or implication for us today? It will be. Meaning, when we build a Beit HaMikdash, or we don't build it, and you don't even need a Mizbeach, some poskim say, to bring sacrifices today. But you have to know the area of the Mizbeach. So what happens if we don't know specifically the area of the Mizbeach? If we have the halachic ability with the High Court of Israel, Sanhedrin, when we have it, God willing, speedily in our days, amen, that we go ahead and we're making sure that we're sanctifying an area that includes where the Mizbeach was. If that will be the case, that means when the time is ripe and the Jewish people are ready for bringing korbanot in a process of national tshuva, then even if we don't know where the exact spot of the Mizbeach is, if we can sanctify the area where it is, and certainly we're covering every possibility, that means I don't have to know the exact or precise place of the altar. I can sanctify this. Heard this in the shore of Rav Eli Mali, Shlita, the Rosh Yeshiva of Yafo, and that will allow us to do so. So that's the significance of this matter. Clearly, we're told here that the altar of Nechoshet made is katon, is much. Is talking about of Moshe Rabbeinu. Are you clear on that, gentlemen? Ki mizbach hanechoshet asher lifnei Hashem katon. The mizbach hanechoshet, the copper altar made by Moshe Rabbeinu, is too small for bringing all of this. Okay? So let's say they did it this way. Questions, comments? Okay. Next. When was this done? Pasuk Samechei. Vayas Shlomo va'etahi et hechag v'chol Yisrael imo kahal gadol milevo chamat ad nachal Mitzrayim lifnei Adonai Eloheinu shivat yamim v'shivat yamim arba asar yom. Questions. What is hechag?
Sukkot, yeah. When the Mishnah refers, when it says Chag, it's...
So, very good. And it's hechag, it's the Chag. Meaning, when the Torah or the Mishnah may use the word Chag stam and refer to it as the Chag, capital T-H-E, that's a special time. That's the Chag Sukkot. Why do you think Chag Sukkot is the most unique of all the Chagim? What are some answers to that question?
I think, the Sukkim in the Torah referred there most.
Why?
They referred more for Sukkah.
But why? Why is Hechag the Chag Sukkot? Why isn't it Shavuot? Why isn't it Pesach? What's unique about Sukkot that makes it stand out different than the other Chagim? What?
Korbanot.
We have korbanot. We have 7-day holiday. We also have. We have different korbanot during the days. That's correct. What else? It's the holiday of Parnasah, our livelihood, water, the holiday of rain. We have many different mitzvot, more than any other holiday. Ken Arbat Minim, Yeshiva Basukah, Nisuch Hamayim, the different korbanot, and so on. There's a lot of light. There's a lot of light, a lot of spirituality, and as a result, When will the nations, as we read in Zechariah, be coming up to Jerusalem, to the Beit HaMikdash on the holiday of Sukkot? Because it has an international theme, a worldly theme. Parnasah, water. Everyone needs water. Even this guy needs water. Okay? He doesn't only eat blue pens, he also drinks water. L'chaim, see? You can get me a larger cup. It's like the size for Og Melech HaBashan. So, number one, this is happening during Chag Sukkot. Number two, who was and invited and who came? Kahal Gadol. Numbers are not given here, but we're told there's a large collection of Jews from all the way up north. Milevo Chamat. Some of you know that we're talking somewhere between Turkey and Upper Lebanon or Western Syria. Okay? Levo Chamat is the northwestern border of the land of Israel. Okay? Someplace between southwest Turkey and northwest Syria of today, called in the language of the Tanakh, Turei Amna, the mountains of Amna. Okay? So Jews are all the way down in Yerushalayim from up north, ad Nachal Mitzrayim. Is Nachal Mitzrayim the Suez Canal area? Is it Vadi al-Arish? There is a maximalistic opinion, minimalistic opinion that's brought amongst the poskim. We need not to get into that matter, but it's clear to us that Jews have collected from all over the country for this inauguration, this party, this great day. And what is it? Lifnei Hashem Elokeinu Shivat Yamim, V'Shivat Yamim, Abar Sayam. Oh, thank you very much, Tanakh. 7 plus 7 is 14. I wouldn't know by myself. So everyone is asking, why is it written this way? It's apparent that if it's 14 days, then it's 7 and 7. So why is it written this way? Shivat Yamin and Shivat Yamim. So the commentators say we're talking about consecutive days. What is the first Shivat Yamim? Rashi says in the name of Chazal, Chinuch, inauguration. And then it says V'Shivat Yamim, that's Chag HaSukkot. Okay? So, can you please give me the dates? Shivat Yamin Chinuch. Chinuch is Lachno, Chanukat HaBayit, inauguration. That's the first 7 days. And then the next 7 days is the holiday of Sukkot. So what date did we start the Chinuch, the inauguration of the Beit HaMikdash?
On the 7th.
7 days before Chag Sukkot. What date would that be? The 8th. The 8th of the month of the Tishrei. The 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th. The 7 days of inauguration of the first Holy Temple are the 7 days from the 8th until the day before Sukkot.
So you have Yom Kippur in between them.
So like you're saying, the Talmud says in Moed Katan, page 9, side 1, that the Chanukat of the Mikdash, the inauguration of the Mikdash, is including the day of Yom Kippur. That means for 7 days, we're bringing 192,000 animals as korbanot. Like we said, every day, 20,285. If my arithmetic is clear, I didn't check it this time.
What kind of
So what happened? It says, Shlamim, Olot, we saw. It says,
what on Yom Kippur do you bring?
so 1 second. We're not talking just about bringing. We're talking about l'chaim. Would you bring me the wine over there? And bring me the meat? The Jewish people are fressing. Do you know what that means? They're eating and drinking and they're so happy together. On Yom Kippur?
They need a day to rest.
So the Talmud says, yes, on Yom Kippur. Huh? Oh my gosh. Is this written by the reformist movement? We should close this up right away. Conservative? The Jewish Theological Seminary? Who's writing this book? Yes. How did they do it? The happiness of the first Beit HaMikdash, finally, after 480 years, that were living in the land of Israel, 440 plus some other years, finally built a Beit HaMikdash, and were eating and drinking. My dear friends, the Gemara says, yes, they were eating on Yom Kippur because Yom Kippur is part of those 7 days of the Mishteh. And they learned it, and they learned this matter, the Talmud says, from the inauguration of the Mishkan. The inauguration of the Mishkan was even on Shabbat. What is more severe, halachically, as far as punishment is concerned? Yom Kippur or Shabbat? How is Shabbat more severe? What is the penalty for Yom Kippur? Huh? It's only an Isur Karet. There's no death penalty. That's a spiritual punishment. It's not a physical punishment. And Shabbat, what physical punishment is there? Skila, death penalty. So the Talmud says Shlomo Melech and the Sanhedrin learned the following Kal V'chomer. What? The Chanukat Mishkan, when they did Shlamim on Shabbat, even though Shabbat is what? The prohibition of Skila, death penalty. Yom Kippurim, which is an Isur Karet, the prohibition of Karet, no death penalty. Lo kol shekain, that they would be able to bring these korbanot. And therefore, what we're learning here, Shivat Yamim v'Shivat Yamim, 7 consecutive days of korbanot, partying, eating the meat of the korbanot, drinking the wine. How? Isn't Yom Kippur a Torah prohibition not to eat and not to drink? So that's called what you say in the Talmud. I want to use the word first and then explain. Hora'at Sha'ah. God gave power to the heads of the Jewish people, whether it's the prophet, the Sanhedrin, to make an instruction for that time and that time only. In other words, this year of Shlomo Melech, this Yom Kippur, there's no Yom Kippur. We're eating and drinking. What? When religious and Haredi people in this generation, what? Oh my gosh, it's hard for us. Okay? What's hard? When you're used to doing something, or you're used to not doing something, very hard. The famous story is told to us when the Yom Kippur War broke out. And here in the great yeshiva, in Merkaz Rav Kook Yeshiva, in the Yom Kippur War, it was 1973, when was it? 73. The Yom Kippur War breaks out. The sirens are sounded. Some great students left. They were in a tefillah. One student, Rabbi Shabtai Sabato, his name, became a great scholar. He heard the siren. You know what he went? He went to his room, took his bags, and then he went into the dining hall. He opened up the dining hall, and he started making sandwiches. Yom Kippur morning. Started spreading sandwiches, and he started eating, and he put the rest in his bag, he and a few students. The others, what are you eating for? They're saying to him in the yeshiva, the Rav Kook, what are you eating for? It's Yom Kippur today. You don't need it. We do need it. Well, I have to be strong right now. I have to travel to the Golan. I have to go up north or go down south. So this is the famous story, right? Simchas Torah.
No, about carrying cell phones on.
Right. So this is a famous story that Rav Shabtai Sabato started making sandwiches, eating, and putting in his knapsack en route. I think it was to the Golan or to Sinai. I don't remember where was. Did I write it down here? This story. I don't remember. I heard it several times. I know him personally, the Rav. In any event, it was hard for others to see, how are you doing this? So the Jews here ate, celebrated by eating the meat, and it was a little weird for them because every year they're not eating and drinking, they're fasting on Yom Kippur. So here we're learning 7 consecutive days of chinuch, inauguration, and 7 days afterwards of Chag HaSukkot. So like you said, from the 8th until the 14th is inauguration, including Yom Kippur, which is the 10th. Yom Kippur is on the 10th of Tishrei. And then we remained in Yerushalayim. The Jews that came from all over the country remained in Yerushalayim to help celebrate on Sukkot. That's why the Tanakh uses Shivat Yamim v'Shivat Yamim to tell us that the days were consecutive. Rashi says they were ritzufim, consecutive, one after the others. 14 days of happiness comes to a culmination. Pasuk Samech Vav, the last pasuk of our chapter. Let's see it. Bayom Hashmini, on the 8th day. What will be the 8th day? Shmini Atzeret. Right, very good. Bayom Hashmini, Shmini Atzeret, the 8th day after the 7 days of Sukkot. Shilach et ha'am. He sends the people home. Some mean that they remained in Yerushalayim because you can't walk and travel far away. There are no buses still in those days, or no rakevet kala. Shilach et ha'am. He sent them home. Vayivarchu et hamelech. Before they went home, they what? They gave what? A bracha to the king. And then, vayilchu le'oleim. They went home. Smechim v'tovei lev. Al kol ha'tova asher asa Adonai leDavid avdo u'liYisrael amo. Interesting that it's written leDavid avdo. What's going to it? I want to go from the end to the middle. What are they so happy with? Smechim v'tovei lev. The Gemara says, Smechim, they were happy that they now know that what they thought doing is a sin by eating and drinking. They're happy. There was a bat kol that came up from heaven. Kulchem mezumanim lechayei ha'olam haba. They're all welcome to go to olam haba, meaning there is no sin. Number two, the fact that the Beit HaMikdash was functioning, and that means David's so-called sin was forgiven, was pardoned. He had slicha. Here the Beit HaMikdash is standing. And David was told that it'll be built by his son from Bathsheba, Shlomo HaMelech. And therefore, they now feel, well, we're doing the right thing. Furthermore, Uli Yisrael Amo, God pardoned them for eating on Yom Kippurim and said, all of you will get to the world to come at the end of your life after 120 years. And furthermore, there's another meeting that they went home, Ohel, home, to be with their wives intimately. Smechim, they found their wives, Tehorot, pure, they were not menstruating. And secondly, V'tovei Lev, they found their wives that they conceived, and they had boys from the conception of this time. This brings us to an end of a very pivotal chapter, Perek Chet, the building of the Beit HaMikdash, the inauguration of the Beit HaMikdash, the tefillah of Shlomo HaMelech, and his great making of celebration. And it seems that right now Am Yisrael is celebrating, has reached a new height. They were worried about eating and drinking, but we're told that they're very happy at the end of the Shmini Atzeret when they're going home. A bat kol, a voice comes from heaven, and that they're pardoned if they think they did a sin. It's not a sin. They have full mechila. And right now, Am Yisrael is on a new high. We'll continue with this tomorrow.